My relationship with Disney is probably the most strongest when we're talking about TV networks like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or Adult Swim. The shows and movies that Disney has offered to me has always brought a smile to my face. And while recently I've offered something unique, I kind of like to ignore them. Anything that relates to a reboot or a cringy show, I just like to erase it out of existence with my mind. But the shows that I watch, I really like, and I tend to like it even more as time goes on. When I was a little kid, I used to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Handy Mandy, Sophia the First, Dr. McStuffins, Minnie's Boaty. I mean, the last three shows that I named were made for girls, but I also watched Peppa Pig as a little kid, which, if we're gonna be real, is a show mainly for girls, and my parents weren't complaining about it, so technically I had the allowance to watch those shows. I really was happy watching those shows, you know? I mean, I never knew what was going on, but, you know, I was happy, and that's all that matters. Disney Junior was the shit when I was a 4-year-old. But, you know, in life, you have to grow up. And eventually, I tend to grow out of these little kid shows. And moved on from Disney Junior to Disney XD. Disney XD is incredible. It was one of the best television networks out there at the time. I remember I used to watch Gravity Falls, Lab Rats, Kick Buttowski, Wander Over Yonder, Pair of Kings, Pen Zero, I'm not gonna say the name, Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Those were the shit! And there were even more the shit revisiting them on Disney Plus. After revisiting Gravity Falls, Pair of Kings, Lab Rats, and a few episodes from Kick Buttowski and Wander Over Yonder, I had an astounding time revisiting them. However, I did have flaws with them. Gravity Falls is one of my favorite shows, and I have no problem saying that. I think this show is overall a vibe. You got this guy, this girl, this guy, this other girl, this guy, and this girl. Honestly, I don't really like her. In one show. How can you tell me this show sucks when all of these characters are in this show? You got Dipper, who got this dope book, has a birthmark of the Big Dipper, and is trying to bag this girl Wendy even though she's 3 years older than him, and honestly, judging from the height in his looks, he never really had a shot to begin with. You got Gideon, who, honestly, there's not much to say, I just really like him. You got Old Man McGucket, who's gonna probably be me in a few years, and then there's Grunkle Stan, one of the biggest idols in my life. The only issues I have with this show is that it's 2 seasons, which sucks, and there's 20 episodes in each of them, which sucks. And Mabel, I'm sorry, but there's some moments of her that makes me want to kick her down the bottomless pit. Pairs of Kings is literally one of the most underrated shows of all time. I don't see anybody giving this show its flowers until now. You got this outstanding duo as well as these great characters, this amazing setting, this great score. Not to mention, I got one of the best Disney theme songs of all time. I don't know who's spitting those hard bars because I kind of don't give a shit, but damn, that guy was spazzing. And don't even get me started on the episodes, yo. You got the do-over one, the Waka Waka Stung one, Jungle Ball, the girl with the 3 eyes one, the prom one, the Christmas one. The first 2 episodes, this show doesn't know how to miss. But sadly, all good things must come to an end, as Brady, one of the 2 duo members, was arrested for driving under the influence. And as we enter the 3rd season, we got this guy. I don't really hate him, but compared to Brady, he's just not it. I also haven't watched that much of season 3, but after watching a few episodes, it doesn't really hit the same. To be honest, my only biggest gripe with season 3 is how they got rid of Brady. Like, you're seriously gonna make me believe that he left the island because Michaela would never love him? Are you fucking serious? Don't act like I don't know who Brady is. I mean, it could have been worse, but it also could have been better. But regardless of the show's flaws, The Pairs of Kings is a fantastic show. Mainly the first 2 seasons, and I think it deserves much more respect and love than it got when it premiered. And the same can go to Lab Rats, which is a classic. 3 seasons of nothing but bangers, as well as a good season. Season 4 is a good season and not excellent compared to its previous seasons, mainly because of this guy. I mean, he was introduced in the end of the last season, but in this season, it makes me wish I was Leo just so I can throw a fireball at him. Thankfully, they got rid of him after the first 7 episodes. It's nice to know this show knows its own flaws. Sadly, they never figured it all out with that one fight we never got. That fight being Leo versus Marcus. Why did Douglas shoot Marcus? I'm sorry if I'm being a bit dramatic, but yo, Leo is the best character in this show. The only characters that come close are Perry and Donald, but they'll never be able to compete with this lovable, handsome, heroic guy. He is the heart and soul of this show. Any episode that doesn't have Leo in it, it's soulless. I like Adam, Bree, and Chase, don't get me wrong, but Leo just trumps them all. You got some of the best moments from him, the best jokes from him, and you got some of the best pair-ups and interactions, like with Perry, Donald, his grandma, himself, and Marcus, his rival, in which I think is the best rivalry this show has offered. So to see the final episode and see this fight that was supposed to happen only for it to be interrupted because of this guy. I wanted to throw my chair at the TV. Easily one of the most angriest moments of my life. Anyways, this show is fabulous and I would recommend it. Also watch these shows that are up on the screen, which they're good, but not as good as I remembered. Anyways, let's move on to Disney Plus. Now, Disney Plus has 5 sections. You got Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. We're going to be talking about the first 3 as I haven't watched Star Wars and National Geographic. I don't intend watching that until I'm done with high school. Let's start off with Disney. For Disney, I'm only going to be talking about 3 movie series as there's many shows and movies that I don't really have much to say. Those 3 movie series being Descendants, Zombies, and High School Musical. Now, after watching 9 movies, they range from good to ass. Descendants 1 is the only good movie out of these 9 movies because this dog doesn't talk. This girl is not frustrating and annoying. These characters don't exist, and it's the only movie that I sat through its entirety, excluding the musicals. Because any musical that includes real life human beings, I ain't listening. 2 and 3 are alright. Nothing else needs to be said besides that talking dog can fuck off. Zombies, I honestly thought it was better than I remember. I remember liking the characters as well as the songs and many other moments. But revisiting it, it's not bad, but it doesn't really hit the same as it did when you're a kid. Like watching this movie at 17 and seeing the zombie talking through the screen. Bro, this ain't Nick Jr. Fuck off with that shit. There's also Zombies 2 and 3 in which I just skipped through many of the scenes. As far as I can remember from both movies, girl thinks she's a werewolf, she ain't. Girl thinks she's an alien, she is. And then there's the High School Musical movies. Movies that people consider to be the best when it comes to Disney in the 2000s. To put out my thoughts on all 3 of these movies in one sentence, they're alright. Coming off the dome of my head when it comes to these 3 movies. First one is about being who you want to be and being different is okay, as well as singing. Second one is about the character's summer vacation and singing. Third one's about their final days of high school and singing. Yeah, I don't remember that much. However, I do remember 2 things. The first one being this song about how wrong it is to be different, with this girl saying,
"Hip-hop is my passion. I love to pop and lock and jam and break."
Is that even legal?
Now after hearing what she just said, I was like, yeah, girl, I love moving my hips and waving my hands in the air like I just don't care about these gangbangers gangbanging, shooting guns, doing drugs, representing their crew of thugs, fucking strippers in the strip club, only for one of them to have a kid that's mine, getting my life fucked up. I love dancing to that. The other thing I remember is my hatred for this girl. Now I'm not gonna go in a pit of rage and start talking smack about her because it's clearly not helping. Like that rant about that Leo and Marcus fight we never got, I'm still mad about that. So I'm not gonna tell you how much I hate her. Instead I'm gonna show it. Her looks, her voice, her reactions, her existence are just annoying, and it's clearly shown in the second one where she is at her worst, trying to make her summer go her way, telling the others what to do, and trying to take Natalie's girl Bryson, as well as trying to manipulate Bryson with that annoying voice, which is like, "Hey Bryson, let's play golf, meet my daddy, let's forget about that girl Natalie and fall in love and have kids." You fucking little... And it doesn't stop there, because not only does she have her own movie, in which I don't plan on watching because I don't feel like buying another TV, but she stars as Candace in Phineas and Ferb. Her legacy of being annoying does not stop. Her entire summer is failing to bust her brothers. She likes Ducky Momo. She has her own movie, which sucks. She nearly caused a paradox. Why hasn't the mother sent her ass to rehab or deported her to Paris with Jeremy? I hate Candace. I hate this Barbie. I hate this girl. Phineas and Ferb was an amazing show, however. In all seriousness, after revisiting all 4 seasons of the show, it hurt me a bit knowing how many great episodes I missed out when watching the show as a kid. Also, I just realized something. Dr. Doofenshmirtz is Phineas's dad. Y'all might think I'm crazy, but look at their heads. This guy gave birth to Phineas. He smashed his mom. Let's move on to Pixar. I almost watch all of their films. The films I haven't watched are considered to be bad, so I have no intention in watching them. But some of the films that I watched was always some heat. You got Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Coco, Soul, Incredibles, Up, WALL-E, A Bug's Life. They got some hits. We got Cars as well, which I'm shocked to know how many people hate this franchise. Everyone thinks these films suck, which hurts me and infuriates me a lot. Like if I was going to give my honest opinion, Cars 1 is a classic, Cars 3 is good, and Cars 2 is alright. Y'all gonna talk shit about my opinion on Cars 2, but listen, movies exist to be watched and enjoyed, and animation was made to do whatever the fuck you want, as in nothing needs to make sense. So to all those people that are saying, Cars can't do that. Cars can't eat that. Cars can't have romantic feelings toward each other. Zip that fucking mouth up. People that are nerds or geeks should be banned from movie theaters and should be only able to watch a movie through a VHS. Cause I ain't trying to hear your complaints in the theater. The Cars franchise is great. It got one of the best openings when it comes to cinema. Got dope racing scenes as well as crashes. And it's got a nice cozy vibe to it. At least when it comes to the first and third. I might think the second's alright, but don't think I don't know its flaws. To be honest, the movies that Pixar has released these last 10 years have been pretty hit or miss. Like Finding Dory, which was a good film, but it's gonna take a lot of convincing for me to believe that Dory's parents waited at this specific spot for the specific moment where Dory follows the trail of rocks. That's some bullshit. There's Inside Out, which was a great film. Onward, which was alright, as well as Incredible 2. And then we get to Turning Red, which is honestly one of the weirdest films I have ever watched. When first watching this, I was questioning if I was watching a Pixar film or a Sony Animations film. With this crazy mom, these pop records, and these cringy scenes. But there's this one moment in the film that's honestly one of the best scenes I have ever seen in my life. It's a phenomenal piece of art. Seriously, I'll put a link in the description down below. It's cinema at its finest. Finally, we got to Marvel. It was alright. It got its good films like Iron Man, Captain America, The Avengers, the Spider-Man films, Deadpool, and all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. But it has a lot of mediocre films, like Ant-Man, which honestly pains me to say because Ant-Man is a really great character, as well as the Mexican guy in some of the fights. But the story is so messy, as well as some of these frustrating characters. And you got this girl who's always changing her appearance. We got Doctor Strange, who's mainly just a bum version of Iron Man, except he's a magician, with some films that I didn't really care for. We got Falcon, who's gonna be Captain America next year, which, oh god. And then we get to Hulk, who's probably the most disappointing character. From a raging beast to a soft teddy bear, this is one of the most tragic downfalls I have ever seen in my life. He also speaks in auto-tune in Thor Ragnarok.
Don't kick stuff! You tiny Avenger! You bad friend!
This guy thinks he's Travis Scott. Overall, a tragic story to one of my favorite Marvel characters. And that's about it for today. While Disney has its flaws with its writing, its characters, its acting, and Disneyland lines being an hour too long, that's all emasculated by its positivity, with its creations like Fish Hooks, Jessie, the Goofy movie, an extremely goofy movie, Zack and Cody, and the Muppets movie. Even though that film was kind of meh. I'm sorry, Kramer, what kind of film was that? Disney has a lot of stuff to enjoy and cherish as time goes on. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. I love you. Have a great day and tomorrow, and bye.